So we're getting close to the release of a new Nvidia GPU. That's going to be the RTX 4060 Ti, but this one is going to have a bit of a kick. Gamers are mad at Nvidia for giving us low amounts of VRAM, like 8 gigabytes, which is really unheard of in 2023. Even AMD should have at least 12 gigabytes of VRAM on comparable GPUs like they do on the 6700 XT, and we would expect on a 7700 XT. After all, a 4060 Ti should compete with that like more mid-tier level GPUs and not with something like a 4060 or even, a 7600 or something like that from AMD, which likely would have 8 gigabytes of V. But if that's coming in closer to like $300, then it's surely okay. The rumor that seems to be coming back again is that Nvidia is going to release a 16 gigabyte 4060 Ti. We know a couple of new things that we didn't know before. Potentially, the specifications are going to be very similar to the 8 gigabyte 4060 Ti. There's going to be one difference, however. It's probably going to have a little bit higher TDP, maybe by like 5 watts or something like that, as Video Cards has reported. That's to, be able to take advantage of the little bit more memory that it has. In this case, it's double the amount of VRAM. Now, let's get a couple of things clear. Since the specifications would still remain the same, that means you're still going to get the same low bandwidth. You're still going to get only 128-bit memory bus. All of these things have an effect on the speed that the memory can perform at, especially at higher resolutions. If you want to play a game with a lot of textures, 16 gigabytes of VRAM is going to be very important, but it's going to function a lot more differently than it would, for example, on the 4080, which also has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, but they're not the same. The VRAM you're going to get here is going to have 128 memory bit bus. The one on the 4080 is substantially faster, much better bandwidth. It's the GDDR6X variety instead of just a regular one. So in many cases, you would still experience bottlenecks. But then, to be honest, you're going to see differences if you're doing a 4060 Ti than a 4080 anyway, because a 4080 is going to be capable of 4K gaming with ray tracing and a lot higher textures, while on a 4060 Ti, even with the same amount of VRAM, it's not going to have that capability at higher resolutions, so you're less likely to run into these type of issues. But definitely, we would prefer to see 16 gigabytes of VRAM rather than 8, which is really way too low in a GPU that's going to cost probably from $400 to $500. That's going to be the next point. If Nvidia does release 2 versions of this GPU, the cheapest one we would assume probably has to be $399 for an 8 gigabyte GPU. That's really the only price it can be, or else gamers are going to be in an absolute uproar. And then the 16 gigabyte GPU, I would say at most $450, even though Nvidia is more likely to price it at $499. If Nvidia does release this GPU at 16 gigabytes of VRAM, that might make some 4070 owners and 4070 Ti owners a little bit mad. Even though those GPUs are still going to perform better in terms of traditional rasterization, you're still getting less VRAM. There's no way about it. So you may run into some issues in certain games, and at least optically, it's going to look like the cheaper GPU is better. Nvidia has done this before with the RTX 3060 and the 3060 Ti when it had 8 gigabytes of VRAM and the 3060 12. So definitely something they're willing to do and switch that around. And with gamers in an uproar over 8 gigabyte GPUs, it makes sense this one is something they might release. They may not even release it. This is just a rumor at this point, and maybe it's just out there to sort of bait whatever AMD GPUs have, coming in the pipeline. So we're going to have to wait and see. Remember to stay subscribed. Let me know down below what you think about a possible GPU like this. Remember to smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.